Welcome to Quiz Time. My name is Simon and I'll be your host. Sit back, relax, and get ready for the next 100 questions. Let's get started. The United Kingdom is made up of 4 countries: England, Wales, Scotland, and Norway, Northern Ireland, or London. Northern Ireland is correct. In 1940, the famous cartoon show Tom and Jerry was initially called Puss Gets the Boots, Jerry and Tom, or Cat Chases the Mouse. Puss Gets the Boots is correct. What was the first televised national colored program in the USA in 1954? Tournament of Rose Parade, Wimbledon Tennis Champion, or Tom and Jerry? What was the first televised national colored program in Tournament of Rose Parade is correct. In what year was the Chevrolet Corvette Stingray introduced? 1964, 1962, or 1963? 1963 is correct. Which of the following United States president is not included in Mount Rushmore? George Washington, Theodore Roosevelt, or Franklin D. Roosevelt? Franklin D. Roosevelt is correct. Which UK Prime Minister resigned during the Suez Crisis? Anthony Eden, Harold Macmillan, or Winston Churchill? Anthony Eden is correct. In 1941, why did the United States decide to join the Allies in World War II? Military empowerment, attack on Pearl Harbor, or Germany invasion of France? Pearl Harbor is correct. Which of the Beatles' album cover featured celebrities such as Bob Dylan and Marilyn Monroe? Rubber Soul, Magical Mystery Tour, or Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band? Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band. What popular painting art style emerged in the United States mid-20th century? Abstract Expressionism, pop art, or dip painting? Abstract Expressionism is correct. What was the name of the first human in space to complete an orbit around Earth in 1961? Yuri Gagarin, Neil Armstrong, or Valentina Tereshkova? Yuri Gagarin is correct. What dance style was popularized by Johnny Otis's 1985 song and also featured in the movie Grease? The hand jive, the twist, or the jitterbug? The hand jive is correct. The Irish Sea is connected to the Celtic Sea through which channel? Atlantic Ocean, St. George's Canal, or North Canal? St. George's Canal. Before starting her modeling career, Marilyn Monroe worked in which company during World War II? Communications company, radio plane company, or textile company? Radio plane company is correct. What model is Mr. Bean's car in the popular comedy series Mr. Bean? 1972 Reliant Supervan 3, McLaren F1, or 1977 Leyland Cars Mini 1000 Mark IV? 1977 Leyland Cars Mini 1000 Mark IV. In what year did the Bay of Pigs invasion happen? 1962, 1960, or 1961? 1961 is correct. Just what is it that makes today's homes so different, so appealing? A collage done by which English artist? Richard Hamilton, Dan Flavin, or Jackson Pollock? Richard Hamilton is correct. Aretha Franklin was awarded the Presidential Medal of Freedom. Which other artist has also had this award? Elvis Presley, Bob Dylan, or Stevie Wonder? Stevie Wonder is correct. Who is the author of the children's book Matilda and Charlie and the Chocolate Factory? Julia Donaldson, Roald Dahl, or David Williams? Roald Dahl is correct. What was the national sport of the US that was popularized during the Cold War? Baseball, basketball, or football? Baseball is correct. What name is shared between a city in Scotland and a medical scale used to assess consciousness? Glasgow, Stirling, or Wales? Glasgow is correct. On April 1968, which prominent civil rights leader was assassinated in Memphis, Tennessee? Robert F. Kennedy, Martin Luther King Jr., or John F. Kennedy? Martin Luther King Jr. is correct. What type of music in 1950s was associated with washboards, harmonicas, kazoos, tin flutes, and jugs? Rock and roll, skiffle music, or grime? Skiffle music is correct. Which monument was a winning entry in a 1947 architectural design competition? Statue of Liberty, Washington Monument, or Getaway Arch? Getaway Arch is correct. The first bikini set was designed by engineer Louis Riand and was named Bikini Atoll in which year? 1950, 1946, or 1953? 1946 is correct. Which organ was first successfully transplanted in 1954 on a pair of twins? Kidney, liver, or bone marrow? Kidney is correct. What popular muscle car was produced between 1963 and 1974 and briefly revived in 2004? Cadillac, Pontiac GTO, or the Ford GT40? Pontiac GTO is correct. Which major territory gained its independence from Britain in 1947? Ghana, India, or Sri Lanka? India is correct. The Walt Disney 1964 film Mary Poppins, A Spoonful of Sugar song was inspired by polio vaccine, measles vaccine, or rubella vaccine. Polio vaccine is correct. What is the tallest mountain in the United States that was discovered in the early 20th century? Denali, Everest, or Kilimanjaro? Denali is correct. Which British author was a member of the Angry Young Men? Kingsley Amis, Richard Hamilton, or John Osborne? Kingsley Amis is correct. During World War II, the Allies launched a seaborne invasion in 1944 against Germany called D-Day Invasion, Battle of France, or Alamein Invasion. D-Day Invasion is correct. After the military, which album did Elvis Presley release in the late 60s that was a televised concert? Love Letters from Elvis, 68 Comeback Special, or Elvis Now? '68 Comeback Special is correct. In what year was the Bonnet hairdryers introduced that were portable and convenient to use? 1951, 1960, or 1955? 1951 is correct. Which 1980 Stephen King's novel is inspired by his stay in the Stanley Hotel in Ed's Park? The Carriers, The Dead Zone, or The Shining? The Shining is correct. What global events in the 1970s contributed to Britain's economic problems, inflation, and three-day week? The oil crisis, the Troubles, or winter of discontent? The oil crisis is correct. Which artist walked off the Ed Sullivan Show since they couldn't perform their song, Talking John Birch Paranoid Blues? Bob Dylan, Elvis Presley, or the Beatles? Bob Dylan is correct. Which Britain Hall was built as a part of a Festival of Britain and officially opened on May 1951? Haywood Gallery, Royal Festival Hall, or Queen Elizabeth Hall? Royal Festival Hall. In 1948, which presidential slogan of Harry S. Truman was taken from a 1921 popular song title written by Noble Cicilli? I'm just wild about it, Harry. Give him hell, Harry. Pour it on him, Harry. I'm just wild about it, Harry. The children's novel 101 Dalmatians was written by Dodie Smith and was published in what year? 1960, 1961, or 1956? 1956 is correct. What name is shared between a candy invented in 1954 and a band that was formed in Detroit in 1996? Smarties, Atomic Fireballs, or M&Ms? Atomic Fireballs is correct. The Labour government that came into power in 1945 after World War II was led by which Prime Minister? Winston Churchill, Clement Attlee, or Anthony Eden? Clement Alt-Lee is correct. Which car was famously featured in the 1977 Bond film The Spy Who Loved Me, where it transformed into a submarine called Wet Nelly? The Lotus Esprit, the Ford Taunus, or Bell 206 Jet Ranger? The Lotus Esprit is correct. Who refused to give up their seat in the 1955 to a white passenger sparkling the Montgomery bus boycott? Rosa Parks, Martin Luther King Jr., or Aretha Franklin? Rosa Parks. River Severn is the longest river in United Kingdom. Some rivers join their course to it except River Thames, River Theme, or River Rhea. The River Thames is correct. The RCA CT100 was the first mass-produced color set. What country was the first to use it in 1954? Cuba, United States, or United Kingdom? United States is correct. In 1972, which artist performed with his band on the popular children's show Sesame Street the song Superstition and original Sesame Street song? Stevie Wonder, Mel Torme, or Stevie Ray Vaughan? Stevie Wonder is correct. In which year was the first handheld phone introduced? 1984, 1982, or 1977? (1984) is correct. The now famous chicken joint KFC was founded by Colonel Sanders in 1952 in which state? Mississippi, Kentucky, or Utah? Utah is correct. Which US president said a day which will live in infamy during the Pearl Harbor speech of 1941? John F. Kennedy, Franklin D. Roosevelt, or Harry S. Truman? Franklin D. Roosevelt. What was the name of the spacecraft to carry the first female Valentina Tereshkova to space in 1963? Vostok 6, Vostok 4, or Vostok 2? Vostok 6 is correct. Which popular chocolate bar in Britain during the mid-20th century became discontinued in the early 2000s? Jacob Trio bars, Hershey's, or Cadbury? Jacob Trio bars is correct. Which artist composed the song Can You Feel the Love Tonight in the 1994 film The Lion King? Tim Rice, Elton John, or Hans Zimmer? Elton John is correct. Which term was used to describe the ideological and physical divide between Western Europe and the Soviet Eastern Europe? The European Curtain, the Iron Curtain, or the Copper Curtain? The Iron Curtain is correct. What year was the Ford Mustang unveiled and sold to the public? April 1963, April 1964, or May 1964? April 1964. What comes next after the famous Alta Salzer advertising jingle? Plop, plop, fizz, fizz. Ah, what a relief it is. Oh, what a relief it is. Or instant relief. Oh, what a relief it is. Which fast food chain in Britain in the early 70s became famous for its Olympic breakfast? Wimpy, The Golden Egg, or Little Chef? Little Chef is correct. From 1902 to 1967, which train traveled from Grand Central Terminal to New York City to LaSalle train station in Illinois? The 20th Century Limited, the Super Chief, or New York Central? The 20th Century Limited. What fashion style from the 1950s to the 1980s included patriotic colors, diners and drive-ins, classic denim and vintage-inspired prints? Retro Americana, Americana twist, or Greaser style? Retro Americana is correct. In what year did the first expedition into the Mariana Trench take place? 1960, 1970, or 1980? (1960) is correct. In 1942, Japan critically lost to USA in which battle during World War II? The Battle of Midway, D-Day invasion, the Battle of Alamein? Battle of Midway is correct. Who launched the first geostationary satellite, SINCOM-2, on July 1963? USSR, USA, or Germany? USA is correct. The Great Alaska Earthquake that had a magnitude of 9.2 and took place on March 1964 is also known as the Northern American Earthquake, Good Friday Earthquake, or Easter Monday Earthquake? Good Friday Earthquake is correct. Which Bob Dylan song goes, "How many seas must a white dove sail before she sleeps in the sand"? Subterranean Homesick Blues, Like a Rolling Stone, or Blowin' in the Wind? Blowin' in the Wind is correct. The 1951 scientific film The Day the Earth Stood Still is based on which 1940 science fiction short story? Farewell to the Master, And the Gods Laughed, or Nightfall? Farewell to the Master. In which year was the first commercial personal computer released? 1975, 1985, or 1980? (1975) is correct. Which US president had an assassination attempt on his life in 1981? Abraham Lincoln, John F. Kennedy, or Ronald Reagan? Ronald Reagan is correct. In what year was the Morris Minor Vault built? 1947, 1949, or 1948? (1948) is correct. What type of bomb was detonated by the US at Anahuac Atoll in the Marshall Islands in 1952? Hydrogen bomb, atomic bomb, or missile bomb? Hydrogen bomb is correct. Lake Michigan is the largest lake within the US, and it borders 4 states: Illinois, Indiana, Michigan, and Canada, Wisconsin, or Washington, D.C. Wisconsin is correct. What was a landmark decision that established racial segregation in public schools as a violation of the Equal Protection Clause? Brown versus Board of Education, Luther versus Board of Education, or Kansas versus Board of Education? Brown versus Board of Education. What was the first microprocessor released in 1971 by Intel? Intel 4004, Intel 4003, or Intel 4005? Intel 4004 is correct. What British actress starred as Emma Peel in The Avengers and made her stage debut in The Caucasian Chalk Circle? Diana Rigg, Diana Robinson, or Diana Johns? Diana Rigg is correct. What art movement emerged in the United States and United Kingdom during the mid to late 1950s? Pop art, abstract expressionism, or surrealism? Pop art is correct. What is the name of the book which Hitler wrote while imprisoned that contained his autobiography and his political manifesto? Mein Kampf, Dein Kampf, or Kein Kampf? Mein Kampf is correct. In 2006, Wendy's, the third largest hamburger fast food chain, headquarters was moved to Dublin, Ohio, Columbus, Ohio, Cleveland, Ohio. Dublin, Ohio is correct. Who is the first female Prime Minister to be appointed in the United Kingdom? Margaret Thatcher, Theresa May, or Liz Truss? Margaret Thatcher is correct. In what year was O Canada adopted as a national anthem in Canada? 1980, 1981, or 1982? (1980) is correct. Which female artist known as the Queen of Soul was featured in the 1980 musical comedy The Blues Brothers? Caroline Franklin, Bob Dylan, or Aretha Franklin? Aretha Franklin is correct. Which 1960s sitcom takes place in a romanticized Stone Age setting? The Simpsons, The Jungle Book, or The Flintstones? The Flintstones is correct. Which US president assumed presidency after the death of Franklin D. Roosevelt? Robert F. Kennedy, Harry S. Truman, or John F. Kennedy? Harry S. Truman is correct. Which car was produced in the late 1950s and was known for its iconic tail fins and extravagant design? The Cadillac Eldorado, the 1959 Cadillac, or the Porsche 911? 1959 Cadillac is correct. Who played an alien named Thomas Jerome in the movie The Man Who Fell to Earth? David Bowie, Elton John, or Elvis Presley? David Bowie is correct. In 1947, what code was released in response to atrocities committed during World War II by Nazi doctors? Informed Consent Code, Nuremberg Code, or Helsinki Accords? Nuremberg Code is correct. On 26 July 1947, the Central Intelligence Agency was created. Its headquarters are based in Langley, Virginia, Richmond, Virginia, or Lynchburg, Virginia. Langley, Virginia is correct. What is the name of the bridge that was opened in 1957 that connects Upper and Lower Peninsulas of Michigan? Peninsula's Bridge, Mackinac Bridge, or Michigan Bridge? Mackinac Bridge is correct. In what year was Dairy Queen formed? 1940, 1950, or 1945? (1940) is correct. The A1, formerly Great North Road, stretches from London to Edinburgh and is how long? 410 miles, 510 miles, or 610 miles? (410 miles) is correct. Which novel author wrote psychological thrillers such as Strangers on a Train and The Talented Mr. Ripley? Patricia Highsmith, Stephen King, or Alfred Hitchcock? Patricia Highsmith is correct. The Beatles were an English rock band that had 4 members. Listed below who is not a member: Joey Fatone, Paul McCartney, or Ringo Starr? Joey Fatone is correct. In 1975, NASA launched what space probe from Cape Kennedy to Mars to take televised pictures of the planet? Mariner 4, Mars 1, or Mariner 1? Mariner 4 is correct. The arcade game Pac-Man that was released in 1980 was originally called Pac-Man, Yellow Man, or Punk Man? Pac-Man is correct. What was the best-selling model of car in the 1940s in the UK? Morris 8, Morris Minor, or Jaguar MK2? Morris 8 is correct. What campaign was organized in the early 1963 by the Southern Christian Leadership Conference in relation to discrimination laws? Civil rights campaigns, Birmingham Campaign, or Southern Christian Campaign? Birmingham Campaigns is correct. In what year was Six Flags Entertainment Corporation founded? 1961, 1962, or 1965? (1961) is correct. Star Wars is an epic franchise that was created in 1977 by George Lucas, Stephen King, or John Waters? George Lucas is correct. The North Sea flood of 1953 that was caused by a heavy storm surge is also known as East Coast Flood, West Coast flood or North Coast flood? East Coast flood is correct. Icon Eye the Heart to Sean McGavin, which blesses everyone, is a sculpture made by which artist to his friend Sean? Dan Flavin, Kingsley Amis, or Richard Hamilton? Dan Flavin is correct. Which Pink Floyd album focused on mental health of its former member and pressures faced by the band? The Dark Side of the Moon, The Dark Endings, or The Sad Endings? Dark Side of the Moon is correct. What diplomatic agreement was signed in 1975 following the Tuskegee syphilis trial conducted by the US? Helsinki Accords, Nuremberg Code, or Informed Consent Code? Helsinki Accords is correct. In what month was the first commercially sold CD player Sony CDP-101 sold? October 1982, November 1982, or December 1982? October 1982 is correct. Congratulations on finishing this quiz. Please leave your score in the comments below, and as always, like and subscribe so we can see you next time for some fun on quiz time.